Hello and welcome to the Talking NorCal podcast, the official podcast of Active NorCal. I'm your host, Zach. With me here, as always, it's bad boy Bob. How you doing, Bob?
I'm feeling like a bad boy today.
All right, we have a fun interview today with my good friend, Derek Wichmann. He is an all-around outdoorsman here in Northern California. He hunts, he fishes. He actually does a lot of spear fishing in the ocean, which is just insane to me. He's an awesome guy, so we're going to have a great conversation with him. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you about our water bottle, the NeuroFlask water bottle. The NeuroFlask water bottle uses its patented filter to remove 99.9% of known toxins in water to make sure you never run out of water in the great outdoors. We're currently offering it at $10 off. That's not 10% off, Bob. That's $10 off its current price with the promo code NorCal. You can get this great water bottle, the built-in filter at activenorcal.com/NeuroFlask. Remember the code NorCal for $10 off, or you can find it in the store of Active NorCal. That's store.activenorcal.com. Seriously, guys, great product. I use it every day. NeuroFlask, go buy it today. Okay, let's get in this pod with the Tahoes, hella NorCal.
NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and I could spend all day just chilling in the South Bay. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and there are no salad dudes who kick it down in Santa Cruz. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and we get a little cray-cray when we visit the East Bay. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal.
All right, we are back here for our second episode and our brand new, I would call this new studio disheveled.
Yeah,
it is. Mm-hmm. We've been so busy. We were just out of town visiting family for the past 5 days, which was great. We saw everyone we haven't seen in the past year and a half. They're all vaccinated, so we had a good time. That being said, we left all this stuff sitting here as it was last week. We did manage to hang up these posters here, so if you're watching this online, we look a little bit better this week. But as always, we're sounding good. We're good in your eardrums.
That's right.
So I feel good about that. But a busy week here in NorCal. A lot of people are getting out into the wilderness. I honestly, we were picking stories for this episode, and there are a lot we missed. Yosemite just opened up their campsites reservations, so that's big news. I know a lot of people are planning. I believe that starts April 15th. So if you want to reserve your spot in Yosemite this summer, go there. Go to their website now. There were new eagles in Redding. Did you read about the new eaglets?
I did not.
So they 3 new eaglets hatched in the Sacramento River nests.
Where's that located exactly? I mean, on Sacramento River, obviously, but that's a long river.
Yeah, so they don't like to give the exact location
Makes
of
sense,
it.
I guess.
My understanding is it's near Riverview Golf Club.
Oh, yeah.
It was further downriver, and then it collapsed in the snowstorm, and I think they built it downriver a little bit. The Eagles, of course, built it.
Congratulations to the Eagle family.
Yeah, so they're actually having a contest to name the eaglets. So there's been some fun names online.
What would your suggestion be?
I thought Trinity's a cool name. So the name of the parent eagles, and we have to go into these eagles sometime because eagles are fascinating. There's Liberty and Guardian, and Liberty has been at this place since 2007, has been at this nest, right? And she's 40 or something. Eagles last a long time. They live a long time.
They last a long time.
They live a long time. So she had a different partner, and they had some hatches, and then that different partner bounced, and now she's
died, maybe.
Well, gone, no matter what. And now she's got a new partner, and they've had some crazy hatches. Like the snowstorm came through and ruined their nest, so they weren't able to hatch, and obviously all sorts of things happen with these eagles, but. I liked Trinity for one, because they got, the Trinity Mountains nearby. I've read a lot of people saying Lassen would be good. Lassen would be a good name. McLeod could be good. What sticks out at the top of your mind?
I don't know. I put you on the spot, and then I don't really have a good answer. You took the one that I was going to say would Trinity, Lassen are like the top
Shasta is obvious. But maybe those are too obvious. I don't
Right.
know. I was thinking you could also name them
What are the little creatures in Mount Shasta? That they
Lemurian.
maybe just name the
The
eagle Lemurian.
Lemuria.
Kind of a cool name.
That's actually a really cool eagle named Lemuria. Yeah, so they're doing, and anyone who's listening, that this contest ends the end of the day, April 14th. So you're not going to be able to put in your name, but it's kind of been this cool thing online is everyone's putting in their names, and they go from, everything from Curly Moe and why can't I think of the Three Stooges' names?
Curly Moe and why?
Oh God, that's gonna bug me. But so they're funny, and then there's
Larry Moe and Curly.
Larry Moe and Curly. Thank you. And everything from funny names to more serious names. I think it'd be cool if they,
What's a serious name?
well, like Lassen
Okay,
or like something that they actually might choose. I thought it'd be cool if they find like different Native American names from around, like from the Wintu, something like that could be cool.
I always like it when animals are named like after like super human names, like Walter, like name the eagle Walter,
like Chuck,
Charles. No, you'd have to take
Charles,
like Theodore. Name him Theodore.
Now, we can't get ahead of ourselves because they actually name a lot of these eaglets all the time, and then they perish. I mean, it's really hard to be an eaglet. There's predators all over the place. They can fall. If they fall out of the nest, they're done.
Nature just happens.
Or maybe there's lack of food, although those Liberty's one hell of a hunter. But, so that was cool news. So there's a lot of stuff that was happening this week that didn't make it on the pod. I just wanted to throw that out there before we get into our news of the week.
You ready for the news of the week?
Yeah, let's do it. I got nothing else.
All right, first story, big one. I was extremely excited to see this. Brand new 300-mile Lost Sierra Trail will connect 15 communities from Tahoe to Lassen.
This trail could be a game changer in the Sierra.
Huge.
Like the Sierra, people got mad because Sierras. I always say Sierras. The Sierra Nevada mountain range has all these different towns up high in elevation, but not like super high up into the mountains. And what the plan is to do this 300-mile trail that weaves through the mountains from Truckee to Reno, all through Sierraville, all the way up to Chester, Susanville, Westwood, the Lassen area. So it basically goes from Tahoe to Lassen on this. Basically, I mean, a lot of people go up there, but it's sort of an undiscovered area of Northern California, right? And it pays homage to the Gold Rush era mail delivery route. And hikers.
Do you think there's going to be like landmarks, like saying like at this point was? I liked the mail route. I like the historic.
You would imagine
right.
that they would do that.
I didn't see anything about that, and I was curious.
And it's currently in its infancy stage, right? This is being done with the Sierra Buttes Trail Stewardship, which is working under a grant from the Sierra Nevada Conservancy. And this it's going to be a trail open to anyone, which is interesting because that never really works out. You have hikers, mountain bikers, moto riders, equestrians, trail runners, and everyone in between. So it's hard for mountain bikers and, moto riders to coexist with backpackers and hikers.
1,000%.
That's the one. And that's the major problem with this plan. Although since it's the obvious problem, I think they'll be able to mitigate it somehow. I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah. No. When I saw this, I was shocked to see the motor bike accessibility. And before I watched the video, I assumed that it was going to be kind of a wider trail than most normal walking trails, because I was assuming they would take it would be big enough for a quad. But once I watched the video, it looks more like it's kind of motorcycle, like narrower vehicles, as opposed to a quad might not be as. It might be a quad might be a little bit too wide for that narrower type trail. But you don't hear a lot of these trails that are kind of promoted and publicized that offer the ability for motorbikes to kind of do it. And so that's really exciting. These communities are beautiful areas and they all could use the additional tourism. And that's really what this comes down to, is every single one of the 15 communities has access to like a road from that trail, so people can go resupply. They can, connect with loved ones for a couple of days if they want to. And I just thought it was awesome.
The trail's supposed to connect to each of these towns, quote unquote, main street.
Right.
So it is a huge economic, it brings huge money into these. Some of these are really small towns. The towns are, I think there's 15, Truckee, Loyalton, Sierraville, Sierra City, Downeyville. Downeyville is world famous for its mountain biking. Quincy, Graygle, Portola, Taylorsville, Greenville, Jonesville, Chester, Westwood, Susanville, and Reno. And what a lot of people don't talk about with these trail projects is the economic impact of it. And it's something that we scream at the mountaintops because, people don't understand that our outdoor destinations are huge economic drivers. And a lot of people want these places to themselves. They want them empty, which is fair. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who eat because of these different destinations, who feed their family because of these destinations. And part of this La Sierra Trail plan is to create like some sort of passport where each town you go in, you get a stamp, whether it be a business or whatever, to incentivize the travelers to visit all 15 different communities and boost the economy through outdoor tourism. So
I also love that idea about it, the marketing push on that front. And I think that a good thing to talk about when it comes to the accessibility of kind of the main streets of these communities is, if you've never gone backpacking, so like we got the John Muir Trail, we got the Pacific Crest Trail, famous trails in Northern California. There are not as accessible areas to the main streets of towns where people can go resupply. So planning out those stops along those long trails becomes a little bit more tedious. This is making it much more accessible to people. Also, again, when you're able to take like a motorcycle on this trail, you can cover a lot more land.
Yep.
So also, and you can see this video on the website Active NorCal, on the article. The video, you watched it, right?
Yep.
Incredible.
Great. Yeah.
So well done. It made me. I was excited when I read about it, but then when I watched the video, it got me even more excited.
It's so important in the early stages of these projects to get support from the public, because that's going to be a driver. I mean, these things cost a lot of money, right? So they need the financing to be able to not only, create this plan, but to actually execute the trail, this idea of going into Main Street like they have, and then ongoing upkeep of the trail and cleaning and everything like that, outdoor infrastructure, if you will. So there's a lot to this, and who knows when this is going to come. I mean, we've been talking about the 300-mile trail from San Francisco to Humboldt for years, and I mean, they said they started on it, but I don't know if that's actually true, So these things take a long time, but there is this growing mindset in Northern California to boost the economy through outdoor tourism, and this is one of the ways we'll do that. The other trail, the 300-mile, which I forget the name of, rail trail.
I have no idea.
The rail trail. Sorry, but there's all these trails that they're developing where visitors can come from Japan, they can come from Europe, they can come from the East Coast, hike all these places, spend their money in Northern California, especially at these smaller outposts, these smaller communities. And to me, why we do what we do is these places are the best part of Northern California, right? So why not bring tourists here to enjoy it as well?
Totally.
and bring money to everyone. So this is a cool project. Again, there's no current timetable for construction or completion of the project, but it's in the works, and I know they need public support. So whatever that means, go support them publicly.
Positive news. Love to see it. The next story is also positive news. We're positive Pete today.
Positive vibes.
Squaw Alpine to begin construction on new gondola, creating North America's third largest ski resort.
Yes, we knew this project was coming, although they just announced that construction starts this summer, which I don't know what that means for the completion of the project. But this is they're calling it the base-to-base gondola. And Alterra Mountain Company owns Squaw Valley and Alpine Meadows in the Lake Tahoe region, if you're not familiar. And they will create a $60 million gondola that will go from one base of the mountain to the other base in 16 minutes and create 6,000 skiable acres between the two mountains, essentially combining the two mountains and creating the third largest ski resort. Huge news. Not without controversy, because this is going to bring swarms of traffic to an area that has trouble handling it. But it will be a game changer from a skiing perspective.
Absolutely. It looks like it's going to be, I mean, just to be able to connect basically two mountains by taking a gondola. I'm a huge fan of taking gondolas. So if you can connect two like ski resorts with a gondola, I just enjoy it. I'm a big gondola guy. So this is super exciting. And it's really, and you know, they are technically two separate parks, but they're owned by the same people. And, you know, there's been conversation about it kind of becoming one park at some point. No longer named Squaw because of the repercussions from that name, but I think it's awesome. I honestly think it's going to a little bit kind of monopolize the area because of how much they offer. You know, like there's no other ski resort in the area that can offer anything close to that, really.
Right.
And so it's exciting to see. I mean, it's already a gorgeous place to go. This is just going to be even better, and if they just keep the same quality, that their reputation kind of has had for the last few years, a while, this should be awesome.
Yeah, there's a few things to break down here. They have the capacity to move 1,400 people per hour between the two resort bases. That's a lot of people. And again, there are a lot of locals who are staunchly against this. Alterra is being pretty aggressive in their development of this area. They've even at some point, and they might still be trying to build a water park, an indoor water park in the area, which the locals find absolutely disgusting, right? You know, this Tahoe's for outdoors, right? You don't build an indoor or anything there. But so the infrastructure, the roads and the parking lots and everything is going to be impacted by this. So how are they helping the community prepare for such a thing? That's question one. Question two is these two mountains are going to come together, and they're already somewhat connected, but they're going to come together. Does that mean that's under one ticket? Does that mean that's under one pass?
I'm assuming so, but you're right. It's questionable.
Yeah. So there's
or like an expansion ticket where you have to pay extra to be able, I mean, I'm sure they'll do that.
Right, like a ticket for both.
I'm sure they're not just going to be like, okay, you buy one here, you're going to get, but that's a good point.
So they, I've spent some decent amount of time in Park City, Utah, and Park City, the resort Park City, and I think it's Canyon Creek, Canyon Village or something like that. They are connected. They are owned by the same people, and you could take a gondola from one to the other, but only if you have a season pass, which includes the both. So you can't buy a day ticket to one and go to the other, you know. So,
but I'm sure they offer tickets so that you could go to both, right?
Yeah, it's already like $200 a day for
right,
one of them,
right.
So I can't imagine what that would be. So that's another question. Are these two going to combine? And three, what name will they be when they do combine? Because we know that Squaw Valley, the word squaw has been deemed racist, racial, and sexist, and they will be implementing a new name this year under the entire Squaw Alpine umbrella. So this new name could, we could hear this name for 100 years. And the biggest Tahoe resort is so, we just don't know what it's going to be in so many ways and how it's going to impact the area and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of circumstances and a lot of results that will come from their development, Altura and these two resorts in North Lake Tahoe. And it's going to be fascinating to follow over the next couple of years.
I mean, honestly, from a business standpoint, if they keep them separate mountains, they can charge more easier. If it's just one mountain, but they, and they're like, you can only ski here, you can only ski there to ski at both. It's like, well, it's the same name. What are you talking about? It's one mountain. So I can see from a business standpoint, like maybe saying not squaw, obviously, like whatever, Mountain A and Mountain B or whatever, but keeping it, if you put it under just one mountain, they kind of have to offer the whole area under one ticket.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. And they haven't really been clear if they're going to include Alpine in the Squaw Valley name, because currently they're not connected. Right. And if they implement it in 2021, it'd be super confusing, right?
Right.
So,
and they're going through rebranding. So they're probably like, let's just hold off on the renaming. I'm sure they've made all of these decisions already, and we're just waiting to find out about it ourselves.
Correct. And I've asked and I have not received answers. So, it is what it is. This plan was litigated highly from a conservation perspective. 20% of the project is on the Tahoe National Forest, and according to their press release, the plan has been deemed the most environmentally friendly and furthest away from the wilderness area as possible. So keep an eye on that, on top of all the cars and all the development and all that stuff that's going to completely change everything forever. This is an absolute game changer for every community around there. Truckee, Tahoe City, the west side of Tahoe, all those places are going to see increased traffic. They're going to see, and will this spark new giant developments just like them in Tahoe? We've said this, I feel, in the last 3 podcasts. I mean, is this the end of Tahoe as we know it? And it sure feels like it for me. So,
all right, we've been a positive vibes podcast so far, but couple downer stories. California sees 3rd driest water year in recorded history. I remember early on in winter, it was a bit rainy, and I had really high hopes, but that died off rather quickly.
Yes, this is not good at all. 2021 water year was tied with 2014 with the 3rd driest precipitation year on record in California. Meaning, in the last 10 years, we've experienced a lot of drought. And, 2014 was the peak of the 7-year drought from 2011 to 2019. And thankfully, we didn't have the wildfires that year, although they did come a couple years later, right? So it remains to be seen whether these fires are going to happen this year, which I'm sure fires will happen this year, or if we could see even worse coming in 3 years. But short term, this is really bad for our lakes, for our rivers, for our wildlife. Everything is impacted by this, and once again, we have to be very concerned.
Between this podcast and the next podcast, I'm going to add some kind of like a positive rain sound so we can
dance.
So anytime we do a negative no water issue on this podcast, we have a positive sound that we can encourage the hope of rain?
Well, I have to say, some areas of Tahoe somehow got a foot of snow last night.
Really?
That was so far off my radar. I went on Twitter this morning, and Mount Rose was like, "Hey, we got a foot of snow last night." I'm like, "We're west of you, where we should see the weather you see, and it's been sunny." So I don't know where that came from. Positive, but not nearly enough. So
I will say also, the place that we traveled was incredibly hot, and coming back to Sacramento was really nice. It's like 63 today. So drink it in, folks. We were just where it's going to be in a month or two, and don't look forward to that. Right now, I'm not even using my air conditioner, so take advantage of the beautiful weather that we have in these spring to summer months.
I wish this weather was a little bit more rainy at this point.
Right. Again, insert sound of rain.
So the current snowpack, the snowpack currently sits at 70% of historical average. However, the rain is below 50% of average. The driest year, the second driest year in California history was 1924. The driest year on record was 1977. So those are, 50 years apart, and 77 to 2014 is another, 50, 40 years apart. And now we have two similar ones, 7 years apart. So this is not good. All current reservoirs are sitting at low capacity. Folsom Lake being the top terrible one, which is currently at 37% capacity. Not good. We don't even think boats are going to be allowed on Folsom this year. It's terrible. And of course, you have the salmon runs are impacted by this. They have less, beds to spawn.
Which we talked about last time. They're going to be trying to implement some new things to try to solve that particular issue.
Also, we have less hydropower because they have to keep water levels up.
That I didn't think about.
Well, it's a point. It's a small point because hydropower doesn't bring in a ton of power.
I was going to say, like, I didn't know. Was it going to affect people's bottom line?
I mean, it's when you're talking about Trinity Lake and Shasta Lake, a lot of water runs through those. So it does. I mean, it certainly does a lot more than the Klamath River, which we've talked about ad nauseum. So we got some fire concerns, which, knock on wood, let's hope that it's not so bad this year.
We do have fire concerns, and that brings us to our next story. CalFire beefing up crews in anticipation for a difficult 2021 fire season across California.
The perfectly sad segue that we have on this podcast. They are calling in 1,400 additional firefighters across the state right now to begin special operations to basically prepare the entire state for wildfire. I mean, they see it, it's so bad that, little fires are going to start popping up. No doubt about it. I mean, we didn't get...
They've already kind of started a little bit.
Yeah, they've started a little bit. And we didn't get much rain at all in March or April. So some of these places are already pretty dry. Gavin Newsom signed a $536 million wildfire prevention plan just the other day. Of course, he went and did it in Butte County, which has seen the worst of these fires over the last couple of years. So everyone's bracing for it, and including just people creating defensible space at their residence, right?
Now's the time to do it, and that's what they're saying.
Right. Now's the time to prepare, because we might not see this for 6 months. Like, it could be October, it could be November.
I think 6 months is like when it's going to happen, right? Like 6 months is October leading into November. And, again, if we don't it's when we get the October rains that November calms down, but it's not getting those October rains and not getting those early November rains that makes November the most flammable month pretty
Correct.
much.
Unless water comes early, which has not been happening recently.
Again, I'm getting a
yeah. We need a rain dance.
I don't know what
music.
that would be, but I'm going to do some research and it's going to be here next time.
I hear the rains down in Northern California. No, okay.
I mean, it's got to be whatever.
That's a copyright
find
issue,
something
right?
for you.
So these 1,400 additional firefighters with California Fire cost the state $80 million. Like, this is not chump change that we're dealing with.
Think of the billions that are lost in the loss
every
of fire.
single year.
Yep.
So there's a lot of financial stuff with this. We can complain all we want about how our state deals with money, and God knows I have myself. But you can't, like, this is just part of the deal now that our taxes are now going to these. I mean, he put $1 billion investment in forest health for the 21-22 state budget. $1 billion. Like, this is so. Not only do we pay for it personally, the people who are impacted by it, but overall, we're all impacted by it. It's scary going into this summer, and again, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, we didn't see a ton of fires in 2014 when that was the same dry year. But we're in a new Northern California where this is the new normal, as they say.
We're riding a dry streak, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm really worried about it. And so anybody who can do anything to keep themselves safe, keep others safe, hug a firefighter. Well, we shouldn't be hugging people right now.
Yeah.
Air high five a firefighter.
Just buy a firefighter a pizza.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember how I wanted to do that? Buy a firefighter pizza. Send 6 pizzas to your local fire department, thanking them for everything that they do, because they are the heroes of NorCal.
They are the heroes, and they're going to have a tough summer. And so let's pray for rain. Cue rain noise.
Cue rain noise. That will be here next time. Okay, let's end on a positive note. I really like this story.
Yep.
Trio of women complete kayak journey from Mount Shasta to the San Francisco Bay.
This is, we talked to Ryan Spitz on, that was like our first or second podcast ever, and he had planned to do this, and I believe he didn't actually do it because of COVID, because COVID hit. But this has been out in the ether before. I'm not sure if anyone's ever done this before. My guess is someone has. I've never heard of it. But these 3 women, there's Ariana Cosell, I hope I say her name right, Alyssa Winkleman, both of Mount Shasta, did this 21-day trip from Cliff Lake to Lake Siskiyou, and then all the way down on pack rafts to the San Francisco Bay. They were joined by Jamie Trapp, who was their camera operator, and the purpose was to make a film documenting the beauty and the necessity of the Sacramento River. Such a cool story. So cool that they did it. Once again, I don't know if anyone's ever done this before because it is quite the trek. But I think we need to get these girls on our podcast to talk about their experience.
I am so jealous of their journey. Not only did they get on this 21-day trip in, my favorite part of the whole world, but rafting, kayaking is one of my favorite activities, especially in Northern California, and the fact that they were video documenting it. I love videography. I produce this podcast. I edit it. I do all, so I appreciate that, and I love doing that stuff. So 3 awesome individuals doing this incredible journey over 21 days. I couldn't be more jealous and thrilled and excited to see the documentary when it comes out.
It's going to be exciting because I know they stopped. I mean, I follow them on Instagram. It's Sac Source to See, at Sac Source to See on Instagram. They got their whole journey up there, but they met with a lot of people. And I think this documentary is going to show a lot of the diverse views regarding the Sacramento River, which is highly important in this state for a lot of different reasons. And they're going to talk about agriculture. They're going to talk about wildlife. They're going to talk about hydroelectric dams and plants and how the Sacramento River, but overall water in California is sort of all connected. So I know they talk to farmers and Native Americans, and so this could be a really, really cool documentary. And although I'm sure it's going to take them at least 6 months to a year to edit it all out, but I'm really excited to see because I'm fascinated with these different stories. And of course, the Sacramento River, which our father wrote a book on when we were young, so it's a close place in our heart. So just a really cool story overall.
One of the shocking things about this story to me is the fact that they only shot 10 hours of content. I feel like we've shot 8 hours of content in one day. That's also my bad. I have to then go through all that content and edit it. Maybe they're just more efficient than I am, but
so think about it this way.
21 days, 10 hours.
But how much of that time is them just paddling all day with nothing to see? They're in,
there's tons of stuff to see. That's why you do it.
True, but they're.
I think it was probably more about conserving battery and
probably
and card. All of those images are big, large files.
According to them, a lot of it was slow river, which we know after it gets past Redding. That river's super slow for a long time, especially getting down here into Sacramento through the Delta. So they're just probably paddling. I mean, eventually you can't video anymore. You got to paddle. You know what I mean? So that was how I took that. But you're right. They probably have solar panel.
Right. That
electric
hang on the backpack and charge your batteries along the way. Yeah. But that's what I think about is. Honestly, having only 10 hours of content to edit, it sounds incredible. For a 21-day journey, they probably did a great job, and so I look forward to seeing it. It says that they hope to have the documentary done this year so they can enter it into winter film festivals, but we shall see.
Oh, I didn't see that part. I was also wondering, they paddled all the way out to the Golden Gate Bridge, under the Golden Gate Bridge. That must have been the most treacherous part. They probably stuck to the shore.
It's the money.
It is the money shot. But have you been in the San Francisco Bay?
Never. Well, not on a kayak.
Not on a kayak, of course. We used to go sailing out there, and I was scared on a sailboat.
You literally didn't propose to your wife on a sailboat under the Golden Gate because of how windy and treacherous it was.
And we know that there's sharks there. We know that there's a ton of marine wildlife there that is dangerous. So I'm really I'm gonna reach out to them as soon as we get done with this and try to get them on one of our next podcasts, because I'm really curious about what their view is, talking to these diverse people, because there are a ton of ways you can look at the river and how we use it and how important it is, but also just what they saw,
Totally.
So good for them. What is it? Ariana, Alyssa, and Jamie. Kudos. We followed along the whole time, and we're big fans. So good job. Can't wait to see your movie.
And that does it for the NorCal Notes of the Week.
Okay, that does it for the news of the week. So right now we're stepping up our game. We have a major thing here on the Talking NorCal podcast. We have our first in-person interview with a person.
Well, except for Ryan Spitz when we went on location.
True. Okay, yeah. So we started this whole thing in quarantine, and before
we sort of started it. Yeah, at the beginning of
So when we first did our first interview with Ryan, it wasn't there, and we actually did it outside in social distance kind of, which is amazing.
Forward thinking of us.
Yeah, so fast forward to 2 years later, and now we can actually have people in our studio, which, we have a lot of people all around Northern California, so we're probably not going to do this a ton. I'd like to do it more and more because I think it offers better conversation.
It's easier to do on Zoom sometimes for people, and that's okay too.
Yeah, well, it's a necessary evil. But yes, we have my good friend Derek, who is joining us in studio. Let's go to our interview with Derek. All right. We'd now like to welcome on a very special guest. He is in studio. Yep. It's a big deal for us. We got Derek Wichmann. How you doing, Derek?
fantastic.
You're a little tired today, huh? That's what you said. Long night last night?
Yeah, a little long night. I was out playing hockey all evening. You know, you're on the team, so you know what it's about.
Yep.
Lots of beers in the parking lot, as that's because we're not allowed to drink inside or change inside.
Yeah, so I know Derek. We play hockey together. We also play a lot of golf together. So I know his stories. He's a big outdoorsman here in NorCal. So we thought we'd have him on here to sort of talk about his adventures. I saw you were at Echo Lake last week. What was that like?
That was long and tedious.
Because that's 6 miles round trip.
No, it's like 6 miles in and
12 round trip.
Yeah, 12. And they typically say if you go to like alltrails.com or whatever, they rate as like 14. But
14 out of what?
14 miles total.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
If you do the big loops, basically you start at Echo Lake, go around from Lower Lake to Upper Lake, and then basically the elevation climb is all the way up, and you basically hit the peak or the ridge line, and then you drop back down into Aloha, which is where we stayed.
Yep.
And then you basically hang out, and then you reverse it. So I've done it in one day, and I've done it this last weekend we did overnight.
I've been there in the summer many times. Was it frozen?
Yeah, both lakes were frozen. So I can give you the whole
let's hear it.
walk through story. Okay, great. So basically, wake up Saturday morning, 4 o'clock, head up the hill, right? So we're driving up there. We get there. It's all snowed in from Highway 50 through the Echo Lake, basically launch area, right? So where the
so you have to start hiking at 50.
No, we decided to take my friend's wife's Jeep, and so we drove in. So she just drove over the snow.
Gotcha.
Cut off about 2 miles of extra walking we would have to do typically. Get down there, unload our packs, decide not to wear my snowshoes yet because, I mean, yes, there's snow everywhere, but it's still kind of frozen and hard pack. So I decided we'd just basically walk down there. I want to walk across the lake. Lake is frozen solid.
Naturally.
So I'm like, man, I played tons of hockey on ice. I know ice. And I'm like, yeah, I can walk across this. It'll save us 2 miles from having like a mile and a half from having like go around the lake and, elevation gain. So I said, you guys want to go across the lake? And they said no. They were afraid to fall in. I was with 2 other people. Mm-hmm. I decided, you know what, F it, I'm going to go and cross the lake. So I start heading out towards the lake. It starts to shift and make some weird noises, but once we get out kind of farther, it is, solid.
That happens, by the way. I don't know how many frozen lakes you've been on. Dude, it makes these like weird reverberation noises, and you think it's cracking, but that's just the natural movement of the ice.
True, but so there was about 2 to 3 inches of snow on top of the ice.
Right.
So it kind of muffled that,
Yeah.
You normally hear when you reverberate.
Yep.
Sick, I know words. Across the ice. But where I was walking, you actually hear little cracks. But I think what happened is just the top layer is, has a little bit of water and it freezes overnight and then pop, 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 pop. Anyway, so we crossed the first lake, get her over there. Second lake's a little smaller, so Upper Echo Lake's actually a little smaller of a lake. We had to kind of traverse a little bit of snow and get down to the other side. It's fine. It's frozen. Just walk right through it. It's nice, having a conversation with 2 people. It's nice to walk and hike actually with people next to you as opposed to, behind you because everyone kind of hears each other talk. So it's just nice. It's nice. And plus the view is beautiful, right? You have all this houses around you, all the cabins, and you're just like, oh, man, I wish I lived there.
I'm guessing you didn't see anyone else hiking out there.
No, which is weird because I went out a few weekends ago. We did – where was I?
Oh, you did that peak.
Castle Peak.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
So I snowshoed Castle Peak a few weeks prior, and there was about 150 people out there. It was packed. There was people coming behind us, in front of us. There were people stopped there. Now, the actual peak, we only saw 3 people. They actually made it all the way up to the top. But still around there, I think that must be just really fun. Hey, let's go hike the peak, right? It's only 6 miles, I think, total. So pretty easy. It's all elevation gain from the beginning, just like the other ones. And then pretty easy all the way down. Anyway, so I figured there'd be actual people out Echo Lake. That was a mistake.
At least Echo. Probably not Aloha. Because Aloha is a trek, even in the summer.
It sucks. I've done it in the summer.
Yeah.
I hate it. I didn't like it this time. I'm not going to like it next time.
I've hiked, so not to break into your story. I've hiked down from South Lake all the way up to Aloha.
Now that's Fallen Leaf Lake is on one side, right? So you have
yeah. So you start around Fallen Leaf, and you hike all the way up. It's like 14 miles, dead straight uphill, and it was
it's fun, right?
It was a huge mistake. I mean, we thought it wouldn't be that bad. But that's just a gorgeous lake. What's it like when it's like, it was frozen, Aloha was?
Well, so first we have to get up to Aloha, and so we're leaving Lower Lake, and we decided to just, there's no trail right now because it's all snow. So you just kind of pick where you want to go. So there's a cute little waterfall over by this like tamarack. So we decided to head over to Lake Tamarack, check out the waterfall, get some Instagram pictures. But then we decided to go, hey, it's time to go up, right? So now we're just heading straight up the hill. So it's all snow packed. We got to put the snowshoes on because now we're sinking up to our knees. And that starts the slow and arduous process of going up the hill. It took us 7.5 hours to get to Lake Aloha. It took us an hour to get over to the bottom of the hill.
Wow.
So we ended up missing, my fault, because I didn't bring a map. I brought a compass, but I didn't bring a map. And I had my Hunt app on my phone, Hunt X or whatever, or on whatever it's called. To actually use that for my trail findingness, and I missed the ridge, and I went back up and over, and then down another set of mountains. So halfway down, we saw some goofy guy running in snowshoes, and we're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "Oh, you guys are in the wrong place. You need to go back that way." I was like, "Damn it, dude!" So then we had to basically reverse track. We had basically passed Lake Aloha and gone down on the other side. So turned around, went back up, got to Lake Aloha finally after about 7 hours. Set up camp. Beautiful. But it's weird because, it's just frozen.
Yeah.
So, and little rocks here and there. Really, I don't know. It wasn't as beautiful. During the summertime, it's beautiful, right? You have all this water,
Right.
these little rocks, and it's kind of this long, fat lake with all these little, not much fish. I did fish it last time. Didn't catch anything. But this time I was like, I'm not bringing my fishing pole. I tried doing that at Lake Winnemucca, which is over, Lake Winnemucca?
Yeah.
So,
Nevada.
yeah. So I did, no, not that one. There's a Lake Winnemucca that's over by Kit Carson Pass over off of Highway, I think it's 88 or whatever.
Oh, so south of Desolation.
Yeah, South Destination. So I tried, we snowshoe, we usually camp there. It's about a 3-mile hike, really fun. But I decided I was going to fish that lake, and so I brought a axe and a wood
auger.
saw. No, like a tree saw, like the foldy ones, the brown one you guys get at Walmart or whatever, and tried to saw through the snow, and ended up freezing to death. Just got my whole arm all the way plus the blade, so that's another 2 feet into the snow, cutting it, and just water to my elbow, and did that for a long time, and never got through.
I have an auger you could use.
If I got to hike with an auger,
That's
all the
true.
way up the hill.
That's true. It's heavy. So I guess you just sit there and you camp, and then you head back home, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't have any fires. Obviously, desolation. So that's
Which is understandable in the summer, but that's wild in the winter.
wild in the winter because nothing's going to catch on fire up there.
Right.
And so that was a little disappointing. So basically, we hung out. It was hot. We got sunburned pretty good. Got a little tan on my face, which is nice because I'm usually pretty white. But had made dinner. My buddy Dennis, he ended up cooking up a bunch of stuff prior the night before. Freeze drying to get it all ready to go. So we had a nice little dinner with some sausage. I think it was like a jambalaya on top of the mountain.
Okay.
Brought a bottle of whiskey,
Nice.
or a couple of flasks. So we got up there, and me and my buddies were drinking and having a good time up there. So it was nice, nice evening.
Yeah, this what we've learned is I'm not really into the snow hiking. It just doesn't do it for me. And I guess it depends on the spot. And certainly if we're ice fishing, that's awesome. That's badass. But like you said, Aloha kind of loses its lure if it's just covered in ice and snow because the whole thing is all the rocks.
Yeah. So basically it was just a big lumpiness about there. Little the word the guy said on the trail was undulations. Lots of undulations. And I was like,
Undulations, like a golf green.
and I was like, yeah. So I was like, all right. So get up there, I'm like, oh yeah, there are a lot of undulations up here.
Interesting. Well, I wanted to have you on because, dude, we don't do any hunting stuff.
All right.
And you're sort of, my hunting friend.
Okay. Sweet.
So I don't even know what to talk about when it comes to hunting. So what are we in right now? We're in deer season, right?
No, we're in no season right now.
No season.
Oh, technically we're in turkey season.
Turkey season.
As you see, basically think about this. Anytime.
So tell me the different seasons.
Whatever the internet tells me it is. I don't. Basically, wintertime you did. So October through January, February is duck season, goose season. Then think don't quote me on this. Everybody online, look it up for yourselves. Find the regulations at California.com, whatever that is.
California.com.
I don't know.
I don't think so. California.
It's like CWV.
Wild.
It's like fishing game.
CDFW.
Yeah, it's one of those. So, look up online, see what seasons they are. But roughly, it's like the fall is deer season starts, and then a little farther into winter, then duck season starts, and that's pretty much all I do is duck and deer hunt.
Where do you duck hunt?
So Northern California is awesome for duck hunting. You basically have the whole valley all the way up, to the Oregon, all the way down, to the Southern California. So Sacramento is really good because we're kind of central with all. Basically, when you go over the Weirs or you go over any of those like big open areas, like going to UC Davis, or you go out towards Woodland, all that area is just like prime habitat for ducks.
Which would be like sort of marshy.
Yeah, all the marshy lands. I love that. There's a ton of little reservation and what do they call them?
Like those little like clubs.
Yeah,
like my friend is part of like a club, and he pays like whatever, like a
lots of dollars. There's
lots of
There's
money.
even $1 million duck clubs. There's clubs where there's a ton of money
Right.
involved just to rent that space and to use it.
Right.
As far as public for like me who doesn't have millions of dollars to spend on that, you go to the different refuges. So there's like 20 different refuges in California, and you can go to them. You lotto for them. So you put your name in a bucket. Hypothetically, it's online, but you put your name in a bucket, you pay, and if you get a reservation, then you go hunt there for that day.
So what is your motivation with hunting? Is it to eat? Is it the fun? Like, why do you do it?
Both. So the food's really good. I actually and I fish a lot too. So if you know,
Right. We'll get to that.
Yeah, but it's all kind of the same thing. Is I can only eat and fish so much. Right, I can only eat so much fish. I only eat so much duck. So I give about 90% of the food away that I catch. Or
Gotcha.
Just because other people want to try it, and I'm like, hey, you guys want some fish? I have so much I had a big freezer, so it's just always full of stuff, and I'd rather just give it to people so it doesn't go bad. So I'm just constantly giving out duck, giving out whatever. So it's not really for the food. I do like eating it, and I make jerky out of a lot of it, or sausage or something like that. It's more just the fun. It's a challenge. It's really hard work, especially if you hunt any of the refuges. It's like hiking for the day. You know, especially the good spots. You're going 5-6 miles, round trip. You're just hiking. You're pushing big carts full of decoys and carrying guns and ammunition and dogs and all that stuff. So it's just,
and I mean, deer hunting is like a crapshoot, right? Like you're hiking, you're walking, and you know where they're at, and you know how to get them when you see them.
you don't even know where they're at. That's the problem. If you have like trail cams, trail cams are nice because you can put those up on trees, kind of see where they're going to kind of be. But that means you got to hike to the top of the mountains and find the spots. You got to go.
So you leave the trail cam like overnight?
Yeah.
And then you go check it in the morning?
Yeah, they have new ones with cellular, so they'll actually ping your phone so you can like see,
Oh, when something comes up?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
It takes flash, but that's also money. So typically the way my hunting buddies do is we just hike out there, top of the mountain, and start hiking.
Explain to me, and this is something a lot of hunters have tried to do, explain to me the conservation behind hunting. Because for me specifically, I'm, the son of a catch and release fisherman, right? And conservation doesn't feel like killing an animal. But in a lot of ways, especially like the money going to licenses and everything are huge for conservation. So explain to anyone that might not know, like, what hunting does for conservation in California.
Well, like I said, so licensing and fees pretty much go directly into the fish and game, which helps like habitat, helps them,
salmon restoration and
all that stuff. But as far as like the actual killing of the animals and that thing, so what we're doing is population control, really. So in California, it's better to kill them than let them starve. So if the populations go out of control, you'd have a lot of different animals, then disease starts coming in, and then a lot of them get disease and end up starving and dying, and then the meat gets wasted or whatever. So at least for me, I do it just because I feel better about it. One, I feel better just knowing that I'm killing what I'm going to eat. If you look at like factory farming and that type of stuff, it's like you don't know if you go to the store.
That's terrible, yeah.
You don't know where your steak's coming from. You don't know where your chickens are coming from. You don't know where your birds and stuff. But me, I know exactly where it's coming from. I shot it in the face, and I.
Amen to that.
So I mean, it's pretty much like I understand that to eat meat and eat food, I'm taking the responsibility on myself to actually kill an animal. So I'm the one dispatching it. So I know that I know it's life. Try to do as fast as possible so it's not suffering. And plus I had a pretty cool life until I was there. It was flying around, doing its cool stuff, and then unfortunately it met me and got shot.
So tell me, for like deer specifically, what's it like actually, for one, like being out there, discovering one near you, killing it, and then dragging its 100-pound carcass or whatever out of the wilderness?
So I'm a terrible deer hunter. I've only been deer hunting for about 3 years, and I've shot 0 deers.
Oh, okay.
So, but I've gone many, 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 many miles hunting. So I've seen deer. I've seen small deer. I've seen ones. There's nothing I've wanted to actually shoot. So
It's hard.
It's very hard, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about zonage. So in California, you lotto per zone. That's kind of how they keep the bigger deer in certain areas. So they limit the amount of deer that actually are taken from that area. So the deer get bigger and they become trophy deers. The valley is kind of a general population. So there's a lot of deer, but they're small, and then there's a lot of people shooting them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I've tried. I keep going. I keep thinking it's going to happen. I see them.
Hey, the first one's the hardest, right?
Yeah, first one's the hardest. Damn it.
But one thing you do get a lot of is fish.
I do fish a lot.
So let me precurse this. What in my opinion, what you do is batshit crazy. Like, so, and I'll let you explain it, but you dive down and you do spearfishing off the coast.
Yeah, on the California coast. Anywhere from basically Carmel, a little lower than that, Big Sur, all the way up to as high as we go. So pretty much, was that Mendocino?
Yeah.
There.
So what are you looking for? And you're like diving down into the ocean, which just seems like so dangerous to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous. The community is pretty small. It's actually divers and hunters, spearfishermen.
Yeah.
It's not, not everyone's doing it. A lot of rod and reel fishermen, there's a lot of that, but actually divers is much less. And pretty much for us as a community, we lose like 2-3 people a year to dive.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the local community?
Not just, I consider the whole community. So that's
Like worldwide?
no, like California and
gotcha.
like Hawaii and that kind of our little area here. Yeah, people die all the time. I mean, I lost a couple buddies. Lost a couple buddies last year, so drowned. So,
and that's like they get like stuck like down there.
No, so there's you're underwater and you're holding your breath. So hold your breath. How long can you hold your breath? And then anything can happen, right? You get scared. You get stuck on a rock. You have a hiccup. I had a buddy my buddy who died. He would get like acid reflux at depth. So at 60 feet, he starts getting acid reflux. What do you do if you throw up at 60 feet? Well, it's like you have 60 feet to go back up to catch your breath, right? So
wow,
it happens. So that's kind of always in the back of your mind, that you're gonna die doing it.
What are you trying to fish for out there?
Just anything, cod. So you can do the biggest thing in California we do is like rockfish. So your halibut, that's not really rockfish, but like blue rockfish, black rockfish, cabezon, lingcods. Those are just your basic cod. It's a white meat. Then there's halibut you can fish for. You can do scallops. Scallops are a bitch. They're basically attached to a rock. They look like the rock. So you got to dive down. You got to find them. And you got to get a crowbar and you got to pry them off the rock without breaking the shell and hurting the meat. So you got to basically, and a lot of them are in wash rocks. So wash rocks, if you ever look out in the ocean, there's the ones that are kind of peeking up a little bit and you can see waves go across them. That's how they eat because little food's going back and forth between them.
They're just snatching them as
they're
they're
snatching
coming
as they
by.
go by, just filtering the fish or whatever, filtering the little planktons or whatever the hell they're eating.
Yeah.
But you got to dive down and you got to find them. And so they're on those rocks. So basically you're already in a spot where the waves are kind of moving you around everywhere. And typically they're in the hard to reach spots. So they're under rocks, they're under caves. So you got to kind of crawl in these caves and then look around. So and it's dark under there, right? There's no lights underwater. So you have a flashlight in one hand and a crowbar in the other. Dive in there, kind of look around when you're in there. And then when you see one, you got to kind of try to wiggle it off or break it off that rock.
I have a question. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, let's hear what you got.
So we've talked about it on this pod. This probably looks so terrible. Hold on.
Or amazing.
So we've talked about on this podcast a bunch of times about the reduction of like the kelp forests and kind of how the sea urchins are also kind of taken over, and that's really kind of been a detriment to a lot of the things that you're spearfishing for. So we've talked about it, but we've never been spearfishing. So I'd love your input on the reduction of the kelp forests and the sea urchins kind of taking over that territory.
Yeah, how much do you guys have discussed it previously? What's your current knowledge of the situation, and then we can go from there.
Well, I think it's pretty decent knowledge, just it's not firsthand, right?
Yeah.
So we've written a ton about it on our website. We know abalone fishing's banned until what they say 2024, 26 maybe.
2026, I think is the
the kelp forest is 90% gone. Does it look different?
Yeah, so my first I started spearfishing probably 6-7 years ago. Just got into it randomly through some friends or whatever. There's still kelp everywhere. So kelp, abalone. I started ab diving. You can think when I started, you can get 15 abalone. My uncle is a diver, free diver as well, and he could get 100 a year.
Wow.
There's just plentiful, right? And you can get them all the way down to LA and back and whatever. Yeah, it's crazy, and they're huge, right? So they're like, a trophy is 10 inches, right? So legal limit's 7. So you're, as a diver, you're trying to get as big as 10 inches as you can. Yes, they do go 11. Sometimes they go smaller, but then 7 is like your cutoff, right? So my first few years diving, plentiful, tons of kelp. Kind of a bitch when you're diving because it can wrap around you. So it's one more element that makes it a little more dangerous when you're diving. Just because you're under a rock, whatever, come out, and all of a sudden the kelp's around you, like whatever. So you just don't panic and then get your knife out, cut yourself out, whatever. And then slowly from there till today, it's just been a slow decrease, right? And there's less and less and less until now. I went diving 2 weeks ago, and I saw one kelp stalk in a spot that typically is completely covered in kelp. So what ended up happening, and I don't know how much research you guys have done on the topic, but something came in and killed off all the giant starfish. So there's the big ass starfish, the ones that are like 24 inches wide.
Something meaning the warming oceans.
The warming oceans, yeah. So you can, I don't know if you can directly relate it to global warming.
Right.
Climate change. Something happened in the environment that caused El Nino, one of those.
They're saying it was El Nino.
Okay, so El Nino caused warming of the water, caused like a bioplankton or something, or bacteria in the water that killed off the starfish. Now, the starfish eat and keep in population control is the urchin. Urchin are these little spiky balls, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them before, and they just, all they do is have little teeth on the bottom of them. They make really good sushi. And they just kind of just slowly go around and just kind of go and just eat rocks. I mean, they just basically clean the rocks off, right? Now, the kelp stalks, that's how they kind of grow off the fucking rocks. Sorry.
You're good.
My bad, I said the F word.
No, you're okay.
So they start basically cleaning off the rocks. And as that happens, then the abalone have nothing to eat because the urchin have basically cleaned off the rocks. So the abalone start dying. So in the last few years, it was really sad to see. You'd be diving and you'd just see a big abalone. Like, cool, man, it's a 9-inch abalone. It's a big. You pull it up and the meat was like the size of your fist. Just tiny little things. So they started dying, started falling off the rocks. And then the purple urchin, which they are these little urchin guys, started going crazy. I mean, it was covering, you'd see as far as you can see underwater would just be urchin and no kelp, which then reduces the population of abalone, right? So they're dying off. The fish don't want to be there because there's nowhere for them to hide. So now the other predator fish are eating those guys. So basically the fish have left the area, and basically it's just a spiral downward or upward, whichever you want to do it. And the population just basically ends up dying.
So, and I don't know how much research you've done this other than the firsthand. What's your opinion? Because we've actually had this discussion. Is this just like a 5-10 year cycle?
Oh no,
or is this like forever?
Probably forever or pretty close to that. The only problem is it takes an abalone many years to get big, right? And then, so I'm talking about abalone. I know you're talking about just the kelp.
No.
In my mind,
they're all related.
In my mind, it's abalone, right? But kelp. It comes back, but how do you get rid of the abalone, right? Or the sea urchins? So there's the Waterman Association up in, I think it's on the East Coast, Sonoma, Mendocino, that area. They did these big cleaning stations where they would try to clear out reefs of all the urchin. So you dive and just take as many urchin as you can, try to basically clean them out to see if they can get the kelp to come back. I don't know how far it's gotten, how well they're doing. I know there's research on it, but the problem is it takes so much time to do an actual research, project, that we're in such a small, it's only been the last 2-3 years, right? So you can't really do a population control or see how does it work until you have years and years to test it.
Yeah, that's what we were arguing. I'm like, okay, 90% of the kelp forest is gone. Yeah. We just probably won't see it in our lives come back, right?
I think it'll come back. There's certain parts of LA where it's coming back, where they're doing the same thing, where they've cleaned the reefs off and stuff. But I don't know. It's hard. It's sad to watch. So
okay, so we got to take a quick break here, and I want to do it by doing a little ad read.
Shots or no?
No shots in this podcast.
My bad.
So we got a little shirt for you here.
Yay!
Large might be a little big for you, but that's what you're getting. So,
or a little small. Have you seen my belly lately? God.
This. So you can get our merch, our sweet merch, store.activenorcal.com, and with the code NorCal, you can get 10% off. We got shirts, we got sweatshirts, we got hats, we got stickers. It's a really cool store. We're going to add a bunch of stuff. So I wanted you to have that for coming out here today.
Thanks.
And once again, code NorCal, get 10% off.
So I actually went on your website today, and I didn't realize there was a store option.
Yeah.
And actually went through and started going through and looking through your stuff. And I actually was pretty impressed. I actually liked the shirts, and I was like, wow, I might have to.
Wow, you sound surprised.
And I was like, I'm going to try to snag one of these shirts as soon as I get there. And,
of course you don't buy any. You're like, oh, Zach will give me some.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
But I saw the Hella shirts are pretty sweet, and then the hats are nice.
Yeah, I got the Hella shirt right here.
I saw when I walked in. That's what prompted my conversation prior to the t-shirts. So
Thanks for that help on that ad read.
Oh, no worries.
Store.activenorcal.com. So you're from NorCal. You're from the Sac region, right?
Yeah.
So like, where are your favorite places to go? Like, not just like hunt and fish, but like what are your like favorite outdoor spots around here?
I tell you, but then everyone would go there, and I don't want them to go there.
No, they.
No, I'm just joking. So I grew up in Sacramento. I love the area. It really depends on what you want to do. Your show your website Active NorCal pretty much hits the nail right in the head. Right, Sacramento is central to everything in California. You can go to the mountains. You can hike. You can fish. You can fly fish. You can fish lakes. I have a boat, so a lot of times I'll go trout fishing. There's tons of lakes around here you can do that on. The coast is beautiful. You have Highway 1 right there. You can go, hang out, on the coast. I mean, so I'm a big fan of Northern California coast. So Fort Bragg,
Bragg, yeah.
Yeah, Mendocino.
Yeah.
Those areas up there. Because I love a cold beach. I know some people like
That's
this.
so weird.
It is weird, right? It's the opposite. So a lot of people like that, bikini weather, but I'm a bigger guy, so it's I look terrible in a bikini is all I'm saying.
Give yourself a little credit.
Okay, I look awesome in a bikini. Ladies, I look awesome in a bikini.
So like, Fort Bragg, like you just like being out there. Like obviously you prefer fishing and stuff. Have you been to Glass Beach out there?
Yeah, Glass Beach is good, and there's actually a whole bunch of little beaches around the area that have very similar things.
Yeah,
that people should check out. Really good beach I love is Casper Beach. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
No,
it's in right below Fort Bragg, maybe 10 minutes out of Fort Bragg. Small little beach town is the actual town, but then there's another little beach off the beaten path, and there's a little campground there. So you guys can just sit there. It's full hookups if you have trailers. There's power to your campsite, so if you want to plug in, have like your boombox going or whatever, they have a store that sells beer.
Nice.
And coffee in the morning.
Yep.
So you can wake up, go down, get coffee, you can grab a 6-pack, go to the beach, hang out, and just kind of sit there. It's a very private beach, so there's not a lot of people. It's cold, so I like it. You can surf. A lot of little kids are out there doing little surf. It's not big waves or whatever. It's just kind of. I dive out of there, and she can fish. Kayak out of there. Little ocean kayak. You can rent surfboards and that kind of stuff. It's probably one of my favorite destinations in NorCal is going to be that little Casper campground.
When was the last time you went to Glass Beach?
It's been a while. Probably 2 years.
Because all I see in our comment section when we talk about it is how like the colorful rocks are gone because people take them, and that's obviously terrible. Although it's a really weird place because that is trash.
Yeah.
Right? It's those rocks are trash beaten down by the waves of the ocean over 50 years.
Yeah, so the key is to drink a lot of beers and throw them into the ocean to make no, don't do that.
Well, no, I
do that.
I'm more curious, like if people are telling the truth and all like the colorful rocks are gone, which I see current photos constantly, and it doesn't seem that way, but you never know from a photo, right?
Yeah, a lot of people like to go there, and any beach will have glass. So if NorCal basically is covered in glass, but you just basically and Fukushima's coming over and get some weird stuff coming over from there, sandals and weird stuff. You'll find the beach, and I think I've been higher. They're finding feet. I don't know. That's an Oregon thing.
So you're saying like, they were polluting for so many years on the beaches in Northern California.
I think there's stuff in the water. So what you want to do is if you actually want to go collect glass, go to any real beach, go to low tide, and and you'll see at low tide, sometimes it's like late at night, sometimes it's early in the morning, but go out there, start walking, and just try to walk that line. You'll see the glass line because that's basically where the heavier stuff won't go, and then whatever. You'll see, and there's shells in there too. And you can get a ton of glass if you want to get a pocket of glass. I mean, I take it from there. Don't take it from Glass Beach, which is like a central location where a lot of glass was for a lot of years. So
it's like a weird. It's weird because Glass Beach was a dump ground, right? And that's why there's these shiny rocks, which are actual glass that was thrown like basically into the ocean.
Yeah, trash.
And yet people get so mad if you take them from it.
Well, because now it's like a phenomenon. Now it's like
the
whole beach is covered in this stuff. and there's
and
a
it's
little round-
beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's trash. It's a dumping ground.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird like concept where don't pick up the trash from the beach.
Don't pick up the cool trash. Pick up the bad trash.
Okay. I would. I just haven't been there in like forever, so I didn't know what it actually looked like recently. I just find it, and I'm not going to argue with people in our comment section if they think you should.
Oh, always argue to people in the comment section. That's the best part of Instagram.
If they think you should leave the glass there,
You should leave it there.
is that like that leaves the charm of the beach?
Yeah, because then if you take all the glass away, then it's just glass beach with no glass, and you're like, why is it called glass beach? Or it's all like white glass, and you're like, well, where's the cool colors? You know.
It's just such a weird like thought like that. Leave the trash on this beach, you know.
But when you dive, I mean, there's so much stuff out there. That's what people don't realize.
Like, what do you mostly see?
Recently, it's been dead abalone, which is really sad, and their shells breaking down. So and sea urchin as well. The sea urchin looping back, but the sea urchin are basically going to start dying off here because their food source is going away. So basically, when you get rid of all the kelp that we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
they're going to start dying off. And you're going to see a lot of shells. So then that's going to start kind of like flooding the beaches, I think, as they die and they break down. And abalone as well, that's all going to get pushed onto shore. And you're going to see these little things like that, little shells.
Huh. Do you see masks littered in the water like I've seen on social media?
What, mask? Oh, yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah, you see them.
Oh, I thought that was fake.
No, you see trash out there. It's weird. Once you get past, when in the water itself, it's not really as scary as people think. From the shore, you out there and you see this big ocean. You're like, oh god, there's like sharks and there's stingrays and there's all this stuff out there, which is out there. But for the most part, it's just rocks.
I got another question.
Yo, shoot.
What do you got, Bob?
Again, I'm just butchering this.
We shot it. We should have brought a third mic.
Yeah,
we
third
didn't think
mic.
about it.
Again, we're in transition mode. We just hung the pictures. It looks great. Listen, so have you seen the documentary Seaspiracy yet?
I did. I actually just watched
Can I
it.
get your input on that?
Yeah. We can talk about Seaspiracy.
I just want to, Zach, you haven't seen it.
No, but I know what it's about. It's about not fishing in the ocean.
From my perspective, the biggest takeaway was the plastic nets from the fishing industry are really the biggest pollutant and deterrent to killing fish that we don't want to kill. And so I just wanted your perspective on that.
All right, yeah. No, I watched the documentary. I thought it was good. Kind of jumped around a lot. So dude was like, "Oh, I hate this topic," and then he'd like 5 minutes later he'd be like, "I hate this topic," and then he's like, "Oh, I hate this topic. I hate this factory, farming of salmon. Oh, I hate So for me, it was really hard to focus on what his thought was, and then they started killing stuff. I'm sorry. Disclaimer: don't listen. Just wait. Disclaimer.
What? Don't listen to what?
Hold on. Okay, cool.
No, there's no disclaimer.
There is. So basically, in the show, they start killing all these they start killing all these dolphins and whales and stuff, and it's really graphic. So I hate to ruin it for the show for everybody. Sorry, go watch it. But that's kind of like the end of the movie is them just like slaughtering all these dolphins.
But like from an ocean fisherman standpoint, does that make you mad?
No.
I mean, you probably just know that there's a bunch of terrible stuff going on.
There's terrible
out there.
stuff going on with everything, right?
Yeah.
So there's terrible ways they factory farm cows. Like, what's a cow's life worth versus a dolphin's life? I mean, it's
Good point.
A life is a life. People are eating it. I mean, at least in the documentary, there's one guy there talking about it. He says he does it because he wants to, feed his family. He'd rather kill one dolphin than 30 chickens, right? So that's his thought process. So I think if you're going to kill something really big. That way you get a lot of meat off of it. I'd rather shoot, an elk, get meat for the year, than shoot 20 cows and then have a bunch of hamburgers, right?
Yeah, you're still looking for that first.
First deer or elk. God damn it.
Yeah.
Don't bring it up, dude. It's so stressful.
So back to NorCal. You fish the American River a lot, right?
I do, yeah. I actually spearfish the American River, which is actually a kind of a...
Where on the American River?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that. So
I know where because it's disgusting. It's where all the
all the people live.
Yeah.
It's a hot button topic because I fly fish too. I'm a fly fisherman, and the fly fishermen and the fishermen in Sacramento, divers, don't get along because they think we're killing the fish.
Okay.
There's only certain types of fish you can actually shoot in the river.
Which are?
Striper.
Oh.
And so, they think
Well, then they should like you.
yeah, but they think that the fishermen are shooting like the big hens, the big breeder stock, ones that are landlocked, right? But we're not. We're shooting just the small ones. If you're shooting big ones, you're kind of they're full of mercury, so it's really not really good eating and stuff. So I'm just shooting.
Well, so you're telling me you see the biggest fish out there, you're not shooting it?
No, not when it comes to the river fish.
Like you have that much control?
Yeah. Well, think about this. Like imagine when you spearfish, even in the ocean, right? I'm only shooting fish from me to you. So I got to choose if there's all these fish. I got to choose what I'm actually shooting. That's why I think it's more ethical and more because I'm actually determining which fish I'm taking. I'm not like a trolley guy with a big net that's going to take up all this fish and have a lot of waste. Dolphins and other crap that's out there. I'm actually picking. Okay, I'm going to shoot that exact fish. That's what I'm going to eat. That's what I'm taking home with me.
So you can't shoot a trout. You can't shoot a salmon.
Not in fresh water, and in the ocean too. You can't shoot salmon. There's the California fishing game is very specific on what you're allowed to hunt.
Well, you shouldn't be shooting salmon.
No, you shouldn't. They're endangered species, and they need to go up the river. So,
even though we caught some huge ones, and what's the difference? I mean, we cut them open and ate them.
it's politics.
I get it. I mean, when you limit certain sports to kill off an endangered species, it's probably a good thing, right?
And it really is. If you can spearfish, it is easy, I guess. It's not easy. The physical part of it is very difficult, but actually pulling the trigger is much easier than fishing, rod and reel.
Right. So, where have you fly fished?
Everywhere I can.
Are you any good?
No. Well, I mean, what do you call it good? I mean, I can put a fly out there and I can change.
I mean,
the
I've
fly.
seen good.
What do you consider good? If I see a creek with fish in it, I try to find a fly that looks like that, that's around, and then I throw my fly in there, and then when you catch a fish, you reel it in, and you got a fish.
Where do you fly fish around here?
So I fly fish in the American. I fly ship. Mostly I do when I hike. So I usually bring a fly pole with me, or if anyone goes on my Instagram, whatever, you'll see I carry a pole with me most times I'm hiking. And just a little creek fish. I don't, for trout, for rod or fly fishing, I never keep the fish. I'm always catching these. That's just kind of the way it is. But, if I'm in the boat, I keep them. So it's really weird. I don't know.
And so what's it like to spearfish in a flowing river? Isn't that hard?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's actually very difficult and very dangerous. I've seen cars down there, grocery carts, lots of that, a lot of tweaker stuff.
Have you heard of Merman Mike? I think we talked about this.
Did I say yes?
No, I don't remember. So Merman Mike, he's got a YouTube page. Shout out to him. I think we've talked about him on the podcast. He goes in the Sacramento River and the American River here in Sacramento and just pulls up all this crap.
Yeah, there's a couple guys. There's a Monk Pot or something like that on a YouTube channel. Another guy does scuba, and they'll scuba dive basically the river from Sunrise Bridge. I think he does some Folsom as well. And they basically scuba dive all that. I've seen him in Tahoe. And they pull up rings, cell phones, tons of cell phones, sunglasses, that type of stuff. You see a lot of really weird stuff when you're diving the river.
What inspires someone to get into that?
Diving or spearfishing?
Yeah, I don't want to be underwater. I don't know. That's just not
your thing.
Not my thing.
It's weird. Once you start doing it and start liking it, then it changes your opinion of it because it's really quiet and beautiful. You're just down there with all this stuff, fish and
trash.
Well, the river's full of trash. American River is gross. Sac River, anyone who's been around this area, it's really dirty.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the dirty rivers around here? Especially since you've swam through it, which I would never do. But how do you think they should fix said problem?
That's hard because it's basically a homelessness problem, right?
Yep.
Or a lack of homes for people. And so they live on the river. I mean, I've seen people, I've come up diving and they've been sitting there. I've seen large naked women washing themselves in the river, and defecating in the river. It's kind of gross. And you see that kind of stuff. And it kind of, breeds E. coli and other types of things in the river. And then, that's, our water. It's our waterway. And we're trying to eat fish. You get, want to eat a salmon, right? But it's been swimming in feces for, however long. It's gross.
Well, I mean, the salmon that we caught and ate, swam through here on its way up to Butte City where we caught it, It's weird because you look at the people who are here in downtown Sacramento with their tents up and you're like, okay, I'd much rather live on the river, right? Yeah. Those people are almost smart in their situation, but at the same time, we can't let them ruin this great natural resource that we have.
The American River Parkway is probably Sacramento's hidden gem because It starts down there at Discovery Park and runs all the way up to Folsom.
Folsom, yeah, you can bike. What is that? 30 miles or something?
Yeah, it's like 34 miles, I think,
Yeah.
around, or just one way. So I mean, I got almost 70 miles of road you can get on. I like biking as well, so I'll bike that. I live kind of in the neighborhood, so the bike trail is beautiful. But then you're going along, and all of a sudden you see a homeless camp, and then another homeless camp, and another homeless camp. Just it's sad to see, but also what I don't know what the root cause is or how to fix the issue.
Yeah, I don't either. And we've talked about it a bunch. It's like, well, it is actually a good section to leave them, right? Because it's kind of a nice place for them. It's a humane thing to do, right? To let them live there. But at the same time, we have to protect our natural resources,
Yeah, and they end up unfortunately just destroying it, and that's because they don't pick up after themselves. I mean, that's also that's
mental health, and
that's also me just saying like they, right? And
yeah.
Not specific of who's actually doing it, but the trend in the area is they throw a lot of trash in the river, they throw a lot of trash on the ground, and they just kind of. But I've seen really nice homeless camps. In fact, there was one over by Watt that had like curtains up, like full on curtains,
really,
and a generator, and it looked like a nice little house, like someone like taking a house and moved it outside. And so I mean, in that aspect, I was like, wow, like. I could camp there for a while. Yeah,
I mean, your experience in Sacramento, I think, is pretty darn on point for every single community going up Northern California. Chico has this huge problem since the CalFire, and all the homeless people moved to Bidwell, and now there's these lawsuits because there's just huge homeless camps in this great park, this park that, quite frankly, everyone should know about. And then you go up to Redding, and they're on the Sacramento River up there, right? So it's this weird, I just don't know what to do about it. And I feel empathy for these people, but at the same time, like, I want to protect these things. And they have nowhere to put their trash, so they put it there. And they have mental health issues, so they do, certain things. So I don't know what to do about it, man. It's a tough subject.
Yeah, and our climate here is so nice that it really breeds, and even San Francisco, where they have big issues as well. I mean, we don't have winters here. I mean, I don't know if anyone's from California who's listening or not from California. We have two. We have kind of a coolish winter, and then we have summer all year, and spring, and that is kind of all mixed in the transition. But it's really nice. You could live literally on the river year round, and not die of frostbite. You're not going to East Coast, right? You're not going to live on the river all year round. You're going to freeze to death.
Right.
Here, it's like beautiful. And so,
the river keeps the temperature
consistent.
Consistent. Yeah.
So it's hard. Like, what do you do with the people, right? Kick them out, right? You take their stuff. I mean, they're already freaked out and they're having issues, whether it's addiction or, mental health, whatever it is. So it's hard. Yeah. I mean, that's an actual issue that California needs to solve.
Yeah. We have a lot of issues. And especially this year with like COVID, everyone's trying to go outdoors because can't go to bars as much, can't go to restaurants. And like a lot of people, all they want to like yell at us about is like the trash. And it's like, we don't want that there either.
Yeah.
But there's not like a simple solution to this. Like, even if you go out yourself and you pick up trash every day, you're not going to fix the problem.
No. And you can spend all your time just picking up trash just to make a loop and do it again. And pick up.
Just walk around in circles.
Walk around in circles and keep doing it. Now, should that be done? Yeah. We need to clean our environment, right? We all live here, right? But I think you just need to put more emphasis on helping these people however they need to be helped or find a way to make them contributing members to society. I mean, because in the end of the day, we're a society, right? And we should all live together. So everyone should kind of contribute whatever they can to kind of help our society to be the way we all want it. And so if you're going to be, unfortunately, you have some mental health issues, we need to support those people and help them. Say, okay, come on, let's find out a way they can help and or put them somewhere or help themselves, basically.
Right. Okay, last question. What are your thoughts on Gavin Newsom? I'm just kidding. We're not doing that here.
You sure?
No,
do you want your website to be taken down, or do you want
No. So what do you got planned this summer? What are you, like? You got any trips planned? You gonna shoot a deer or what?
I'm gonna try to later in the year. I've been backpacking, like I said, last few weekends, trying to get in shape. Trying to do longer and longer trips. Trying to do 10, 15 milers. We were doing end of last summer. We were doing 15 milers, day trips, and so just you really got to push yourself to hunt. Because then you got to carry a 100-pound animal on your back once you shoot it. So
you feel how in shape are you right now?
To where I need to be?
Out of 10.
Out of 10, I think I'm a 6.
Oh, okay.
For where I need to be. But I'm
getting there.
Which is halfway, right? Or roughly halfway.
You're getting there. Well, we got hockey season. We got hockey season.
We got golf season coming up.
We got golf season coming up. We're going to spend a lot of time together. So we'll have to have you back on.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I know you have some stories. We need like a censor button like when you come back because I know what you're like and that's fine. Oh, we got it. Oh, it just keeps going.
No, just go push it. Ready? See, it's like I'm cursing.
Okay.
No, yeah, because unfortunately my personality is,
and that's fine.
Crazy.
We honestly, we don't have, you could say whatever you want on here. We do have, we have some people that we don't want to like cuss a ton in front of.
Well, yeah, and it's unfortunate, that I have my brain.
No, it's fine. But we're going to have you back on probably later this summer. So go. So you gotta kill a deer.
Yeah, kill a deer's on the top of my list. Halibut season's opening up, right? So halibuts and salmon's gonna be coming up. So we need to get some trips out in the bay. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Get back out of there.
So we salmon fish on the river. I've never salmon fished in the ocean.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, you launch basically in San Francisco, right? Going to the bridge, through the Cabbage Patch, or what the hell they call that thing right there, all the waves and stuff.
Yeah.
Get out there, and then you just troll for salmon. But that's the way to do it. The fresh fish like that. Oh man.
So full circle, we actually talked about these girls just did a kayak trip, a pack raft trip from Mount Shasta all the way down the Sacramento River. It's 300 miles to the San Francisco Bay.
Okay.
And then they crossed the Golden Gate Bridge, and these are like rubber rafts.
Okay.
Can you imagine what that would be like?
Yeah.
Like paddling through under the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet. I have kayaks if you guys want to do it.
Isn't that like super rough? Isn't it like, would that be scary? Like I've sailed through there a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, you know where Tomales Bay is?
Yeah.
So I've dove Tomales Bay, and for halibut, and there's current and sharks and all that stuff there. It's just all the same. At least you're out of the water, kayaking.
That's crazy. All these stories you see of people either dealing with sharks or like you said, like friends like passing away. Doesn't that like? Aren't you like, okay, I'm over it?
No, because it's still fun.
So there's never a time where you might give it up.
No, I mean there's multiple things. I used to dive a lot by myself out in the ocean. I've strayed away from that. Okay, Mom. I've stayed away. Also they have a free dive recovery vests that I wear. So basically it's a censored vest that inflates upon me dying or passing out. So if I fall asleep or pass out underwater, it'll pop and take me to the surface, and then I'll just float there until hopefully I wake up. Or I guess it doesn't really help with sharks, so it kind of just makes me like a bait, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I hope you don't die anytime soon.
Woo!
But if you do, life well lived.
Yeah, if not, then more views, right? Because you can go back and listen to the stories,
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
we'll get quoted by like CNN.
Yeah, exactly.
Like guy killed by shark was on set Talking NorCal podcast.
Perfect. Yeah, and then
thanks for taking one for the team, Derek.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
It's for you guys advertising.
Derek, seriously, thanks for coming on, man. I'll see you on the golf course soon.
Exactly, and don't forget, guys, check out the website. They do have a shop section. You can get T-shirts. So if you guys get a chance, go over there, check it out. It's not hard. You can't leave the shop once you get in it, so the back button doesn't let you leave it. But you can get there and hang out.
That might be true. I'm not sure. We're sort of a podunk situation.
But there's a lot of stuff on there, so I'd recommend go over there, check out. The hats are sweet. Wait, is there any hats back there? What's going on?
I'll get you a hat. We don't have any here.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Guys.
All right. Thanks, Derek. All right. That was our fun interview with my good friend, Derek. He's an interesting one.
Yes, indeed.
He's a fun guy. So go follow him and all of his fun activities. It was good to have someone in the studio, in our brand new studio. And luckily he's a friend of mine, so he didn't mind the mess that we got going on in here.
I just want to also acknowledge your shirt. I think it's awesome. I need one of my own.
This
store.activenorcal.com.
Store.activenorcal.com. Hella NorCal.
Hella NorCal.
Yeah. I like this shirt. We actually have a ton of hella designs coming out that we just got to get them up on the store. But I think those are going to be big. And actually, a lot of people ordered this shirt. So
it's an awesome shirt.
You might see it around. It was one of our more popular shirts.
You could even do that logo big on the back. I'd like that too. I'd wear that.
But what's on the front? So
that and both, a small and a big.
You do logo, same logo.
Yeah,
on
you know,
both?
like, remember like independent trucks when we were skateboarders? There was the independent logo and then the big one on the back. I like that.
I think what we're definitely blowing up this hella and just putting hella across the shirt.
Can I get a period maybe? Hella period. And then in the period it says at NorCal. I don't know. We're brainstorming live here.
Hey,
people.
Submit your designs,
There you go.
and I'll give you a percentage of each design, baby.
How do they submit their designs?
Oh, I'm not telling other people to. I don't. Well, I guess you could. Yeah. Send it to me. Zach, ZACH at ActiveNorCal.com. I'm open to anything, man. We're selling a bunch of these things, which is really cool. And I'm looking forward to getting some of these new designs out because we're coming up with new ones, but you know, we're a small operation, so it doesn't, and nothing ever comes quickly around here. But yeah, thank you for the compliment on my shirt.
I want one, so just get me one.
Okay. Well, you can get yours at store.activenorcal.com.
Yeah.
Promo code NorCal.
10% off?
Yeah, 10%, not $10 like the Nero Flask.
Right. Nero Flask, $10. It's Active NorCal. Store.activenorcal.com.
Yes.
10%.
Yes. So we're gonna try to do another episode next week. I'm actually traveling next week. I'm going into the wild. So we'll try to get a podcast out right before I leave. I'm gonna do some cool stuff. So I'll come back the next week with a bunch to report.
We got 420 coming too, so I guess this will be the last podcast before 420. So happy 420 to anyone that's celebrating in Northern California.
You know what? We will be we'll be recording on 420.
Maybe we'll go live.
Doug, I'm gonna need you to not celebrate too early in the day. Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am a high times.
You're doing your job. We're both judging the Cannabis Cup. So. All right, that does it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio,
and leave a
Stitcher.
Review. We've had some great reviews.
Oh yeah,
recently,
we have had some good reviews.
We look at all of them. So if you go on and you write a review, we read those because we appreciate them. We want to hear from you guys. This is for you guys. Like, we like doing it, but we're doing this for our audience. So subscribe, give us a review, 5 stars only.
If you give us 5 stars and you write something funny or insightful or whatever, we'll
find a way to get you a hella shirt, something like that.
Yeah, we'll send you a shirt and we'll acknowledge you on the podcast here. So subscribe to us, audio. You can also watch these whole episodes on YouTube, Talking NorCal. We also have all the clips that go up on Active NorCal's YouTube. Also on social media everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us everywhere. And thanks for listening, guys. And remember, stay active.
NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and I could spend all day just chilling in the South Bay. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and there are no salad dudes who kick it down in Santa Cruz. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and we get a little cray-cray when we visit the East Bay. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and we get a little mental when we visit Sacramento. Yeah, we're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and we partake in nature's bounty when we visit Humboldt County. Yeah, we're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and me, I'm hella cool 'cause I live in Sebastopol. We're NorCal, we're hella NorCal, and you know that we gotta go. We're on our way